Yahoo! Welcome to Makin Music. My name's Dan Aroney. I'll be your host this week, and I'd like to introduce you to 10 steps to...
12 steps.
Oh, are you kidding me? Now, is that supposed to mean something?
It has no real meaning other than the fact that it was a mutual band that me and my original drummer liked. It was a song title we got from them.
Is that right?
Kind of felt it was a...
Now, why don't you introduce the guys in the band to us, okay?
All right, well, on drums we have Pete. Pete's been with us since
Welcome to the show, Pete.
Been here since about April with us. And then we got Mac over on bass. Mac's been with me for years now.
And how long has the band been together?
We've been together since March of 2004.
Now, the song you guys started with, what's the name of that song?
The song's called Softly.
Is that right? Now, tell us a little bit about the band and how it all started.
Well, we got going. I mean, we all played in bands together. I've been playing with Mac since about 2000, and me and him have played in a numerous amount of bands. And then we played in the last band we were with together. It was called the Jim Jones Brigade. We did that for about 6 months and then took off to start this band. And we've been running with this 3 years now. Done hundreds of shows.
Is that right? Is it mostly in the Bay Area? You've gone out of the Bay Area?
We've done some northern California, some southern. Just did a TV show last week.
Oh, you did? Now tell me about that.
It's a place called flashrock.com. They do webcast TV shows out of LA. So we went down there and did that in North Hollywood. That'll be airing coming up in the next couple weeks.
And how many songs did you do for that? 3. Oh, was that right?
Yeah.
And how did you get involved with that? Now, how did that come about?
We got that through our label, Forte Records.
Okay.
We got hooked up with that. So that was a good perk.
Oh, that is a great perk, yeah. Now tell us, how did you get hooked up with Forte?
With Forte Records, we met them in January of '06. We met them through some mutual friends, and they were really impressed by what we were doing. And we've just pretty much been doing more, artist build-up, just kind of getting us geared up and with the right producers, helping us work.
And is your stuff mostly all original that you're doing? Okay. Yeah, do you ever do any cover stuff? Or
we do some covers here and there.
Yeah.
It's more, we usually focus more on originals.
Yeah, now in this day and age where you're seeing less and less, places to play out in the Bay Area, where are you guys, finding gigs?
That's the good part about working with Forte is that they also handle our booking as well, so it's kind of taken that pressure off of me. So all I have to really worry about is just playing gigs and writing music. So
which is nice.
Yeah.
That part. Now, what venues are you playing in the?
In San Jose. I mean, there's lots of venues still. I mean, there's a small scene, but everybody's kind of starting to bring it back. I mean, there's Voodoo Lounge, there's Johnny V's, Caravan, the Blank Club. All those venues do lots of rock shows on a regular basis. And there's a lot of good promoters around here too that are starting to bring it back, like Bands on the Spot and Toll Bridge Productions. So it's with that type of stuff and the bands around here, it's kind of starting to come back.
Yeah, you know what I noticed that's amazing in the old days, I should say my old days, and I know we had this interview with Dave Manichetti a couple months ago, And back then, a lot of bands were self-promoting themselves. They would go out and they would rent a hall for $100. Of course, the halls were only $100 to rent back then. They'd go get the kegger and they'd sell tickets, they'd sell the beer, and they were self-promoting. And you don't see it as much anymore as you do. I don't know if it's because everyone sues everyone for everything nowadays.
Just a few bad apples that ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
You have to worry too much about security and permits now.
Yeah. Do you see that happening out at all, where you see bands self-promoting and build up that kind of local current and then kind of ride that wave?
Yeah, just I mean, that's the way we see it. There's like always just a kind of a steady group of bands. Everybody kind of groups together and books a lot of shows together and tries to bring it back that way.
Yeah. Now, what style would you say, how would you describe your band as far as the style goes?
I mean, we'd always just kind of put it as rock and roll, just a little bit of punk, a little bit of everything. I mean, we do occasional acoustic stuff, and we're just kind of all over the board. Yeah.
Do you do any screamo stuff?
Oh no.
Well, you see that very common nowadays. Is that sound that comes through, and so many bands making a living at doing that, and it's pretty amazing, all the different styles from one style of music that you see. Yeah. So anyway, I think we're going to do another song if you don't mind, and I'll leave it up to you guys.
Let's.
Yesterday, I thought I knew it all. I didn't need no one like you, but I was wrong every time I look. I see you out there, your pretty smile face, and now you're gone. And now you're gone. You're gone. Just Saturday, not away in the world. You were still here. What happened? There's so much pain now. I can hardly sleep tonight. Things didn't not so right. What happened to us? For our guy, for our blood. This life is charming. Something will never change. What happened to you? There's so much pain now. I can hardly sleep at night. Things I did not so right. What happened to us? For our game, for our blood. This life is charming. Something will never change.
Welcome back to Making Music. My name's Dan Harney. Again, we're with 12 Steps to Nothing and Paul Mestis, the lead guitarist and lead singer. Let's go into gear a little bit. Tell us about what you're using and why you've picked this for your gigs.
Yeah, basically I've owned a lot of gear in my life. I've probably owned like 50 guitars in the last 10 years, just trying to find the right sound.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, yes, you've seen me many a time. But yeah, I've kind of hovered down to PV amplifiers. Really a fan of the
And what
5150.
amplifier? Tell us what amp, and if we can take a little picture of this and get this on the screen.
It's that 5152.
Okay, so this is the one that Van Halen kind of was in conjunction with Peavey on that was very popular. I've also seen Elliot Easton, who played with Creedence Clearwater in the Cars.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what he uses.
I jumped on that just before they switched over to the 6505. And the cabs, I've had these old Mitchells probably since about 97. I picked them up over in the Showcase Schwab shop.
And how about for guitar again? You're using a...
This is that ESP custom shop, Ron Wood. I picked this up over at Showcase as well.
Okay.
It's the one thing. Always check out a lot of the used gear we have in the shop. We have some really cool stuff pop up from time to time. So.
Yeah, and this is one piece I had never seen come through either.
Yeah, I've never seen one too.
Now, how about on bass? What I see, we have a Galen Kruger, and this is their biggest bad boy in their whole line, the 2001, and this has more power than a 65 Dodge Charger. And of course the SWR 410 cabs, which is one of the classic great bass cabs.
Stuff.
Yeah.
GK we've had no issues with.
Yeah, and then I can see you're on Pearl, you're using Pearl drums and Peisty cymbals. So that seems to be a very great line that's a real mainstay. Well, what I want to go on to is tell me about what upcoming shows you have. And
doing a lot of stuff. We have a really big Halloween show coming up over at the Voodoo Lounge. This band Rivals is throwing it, and they throw a big yearly, huge Halloween show. That's coming up on actually on the 31st. We have that, and we're going to be playing over at CNJ's over in Santa Clara. And that's on the 19th of this month. And then we have the 13th of this month. We're over at the Quarter Note in Sunnyvale.
Oh, so you guys are staying real busy then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, tell us about your CD release. And you've had CD.
Yeah, we've done 4 so far. We've done at least 1 a year that we've released. Like currently, we just did a recent demo, a 4-song demo.
And let's see if we can get a picture of this. Okay. Let's see if we can get that on the screen. Yeah.
We just released this in August. I basically just want.
Yeah. One more time. Let's get that up there and see if I can stay steady. Yeah.
I just basically wanted to get something that, even for right now, because we're putting together a new record, full length to release early next year, but we wanted something that kind of showcased the current lineup of the band. So we just finished that up. So that's number 4 for us.
And where can people get these? Can they go on your website and order these? And
pretty much they're as of now they're on there. We're working on getting some other online stores set up. So.
Yeah. Now tell me, when did it get serious for you guys? Let's go back a little bit and tell us when it went from just being, let's say, a garage band to to more of a serious want to get out and
started as of summer '97 is when I really got serious. That's when I formed my first band with some good friends of mine, and that's how I got in touch with Matt, because he was one of our later bass players. And, I mean, that's when we really got serious. I was about 15. That was when there was still a really good show scene for this type of stuff in San Jose.
Yeah. Did you take lessons when you were young?
No, self-taught.
This is all self-taught.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, another great story, because the same thing when we had Dave Manichetti from Y&T on, same thing, self-taught. He took 2 lessons. The teacher said, now you can do better on your own.
Yeah.
And just went and did it. And
some people
you were playing great.
Right on it.
Yeah.
It's like Pete. We all played in the same scene around the same era. We always played in different bands, all played different shows around each other.
Right. Well, how long did it take for you to go from just plunking on the guitar to just knowing to the
Pretty much from like 13 to 15.
Really?
So pretty much started getting serious about the guitar at about 13. Always went to Music Village just because it was the shop around the block. Never knew Guitar Showcase existed until then. I happened to take a shortcut one day and found it, and I was just kind of,
what have I been missing?
Yeah, so then from there it just pretty much got serious. I started buying a ton of gear from there, and that's when we really started forming our first bands. And
how about some of the other bands that you've gotten your influences from? What would you say that your main influences for your music have come from?
I mean, even though it's kind of hard to hear in there, like a big one for me is the Beatles. It's still like my #1 favorite band. That's where I got between the Beatles and Nirvana. If it wasn't for those two, I never would have picked up the guitar.
Yeah, and it's such a key thing. I mean, I hear that a lot, especially with the Beatles.
Yeah.
And there's just so much that you can take from that.
Yeah.
And they were just the first they did so many firsts in so many venues. It's
timeless.
It is timeless, yeah. And it really, you can take that and use it in so many different styles of music as well. So, that's a very cool thing. Tell us about, boy, we got upcoming shows that you've talked about with the thing. Any other good stories that you've had on the road that you want to pass along?
I think of any unusual stories.
I kind of surprised you with that one.
Anything come to mind, dude?
How about favorite albums? You know, I mean, you have to. You know, I know we talked about influences with the Beatles, but particular albums that you've worn out over the years that you keep on going back to.
Big ones for me have always been like, it's always been right around like Rubber Soul and Revolver from the Beatles. With Nirvana, I was always pretty much Nevermind and In Utero. Then I grew up a lot listening to bands like Face to Face and Social Distortion. It's like Face to Face's first one was a big one. Social Distortion, pretty much their first couple ones were big influences on me.
Yeah.
I think same goes with Pete.
So, well, that's good. That's good to hear. Now, tell us about anything else that's coming up in the near future. I know, like I say, we're going back, but you know, let's talk about a couple of the first gigs you did. Let's go back again to starting out. And what's the first real gig that you guys did?
First gig ever.
Yeah, well, yeah, the first gig.
Well, we got going. That was what, 97. We used to play over at the Camden Community Center all the time. They threw shows there. That's where we first got our feet wet with it. We'd do one show every 2 months and just fly the snot out of it. And it worked perfectly, considering we're all still in high school. We always just were able to pack the place. And that was always a good start. It kind of got our feet wet, and it gave us a taste of what we liked doing. So from there, we just kept going.
Well, that's good. Now, I know we were only gonna do 3 songs, but you guys mind adding another one? I enjoyed it so much. Let's pull out another song, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more.
Okay.
Welcome back to Making Music. My name is Dan Aroney. Again, we're with 12 Steps to Nothing, and Paul Mestiz, lead singer, lead guitar player. Now tell us again a little bit about Forte Records and where are they located, and have you done the recording with them?
And as with Forte, they're out of Campbell, California. They've been around for on and off like the last decade, but more so like the last 2 years have been really active. Pretty much we are in the process of just finishing up writing right now, and then we'll be shooting to get this record put out by early March, April next year.
Now tell me, I want to ask this because this is always, you know, why bands? Why 3 pieces? Why not 4? Why not 5? I know, you know, why 3?
I mean, we've always had a full sound. I mean, we've been a 3-piece since the original incarnation of the band, the first year and a half. And we've always had a rotating stream of second guitar players. I mean, we're still kind of pursuing the option, but until then, I mean, we have a big enough sound as a 3-piece to where we could function.
It's definitely big enough, yeah. And again, it takes you back to, you know, the early Hendrix days when it was just the 3-piece.
Yeah.
And you know, you've seen that quite often, and then of course when you're playing gigs, you get paid more money too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that never hurts. You know, we're all capitalists at heart, I think, somewhere somehow. So, well, anyway, tell us, you know, what's next for you guys? I mean, you work on these records. How do you come up with the, you know, where do you get your inspiration? I know we've talked a little bit about the bands that you've got it, but how does it pop up? How do you, you know, figure out, you know, where your lead is in, where, I mean, you know, you need hooks nowadays. You need to grab people with these songs.
Yeah.
You know, how do you find the inspiration for the hook on a song?
It's always been a trick. It's just a matter of like, I always just find myself coming up with this stuff at just the most inopportune moment. We making lunch or something and just kind of start humming something, and I have to go find a notepad. And I kind of remember reading that before about how Paul McCartney would do that type of stuff, like how he came up with yesterday, how he woke up and he was humming something like ham and eggs, gets on the piano and he eventually wrote that. It's just, I kind of look at it in that kind of a thing. It's just the way I've always written. It's just, they just come to me at random moments, or else I'll just have lyrics laying around somewhere, and then I'll just have a melody and it'll work right together.
And I mean, you dream this stuff sometimes as it comes to you like that. I mean, it's truly an amazing process. You know, how you see and how the stories of some of these things have come up over the years. You know, I know we're starting to wind down on the show now, and I appreciate you guys coming on. But before we go, I just want to, you know, ask what's probably, you know, and this is not really describing you guys, but best concert you've been to. I always love asking that question of bands that you've gone out and actually seen live, but what do you really like to, what's the best one you've ever come across? And I know I'm throwing this from left field to you,
it's hard to pick a main one. I mean,
well, just the first thing that comes to your head.
I mean, Green Day's always throwing really good concerts. Like back, at least now they're really a huge arena rock, but before they've always thrown really good shows. Bands like The Living End out of Australia, those guys throw great shows. Yeah,
do you guys get to go out and see many of the concerts and see stuff?
Always got a show.
That's got to be an inspiration as well. So, well, that's cool. Anyway, we're starting to wind down. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. Again, I want to thank Emerson, our engineer, and Sam Carlino, our producer of the show, and Bert, who ran the sound for us today. And it's been a real pleasure having you guys on. And I hope to see you guys, you know, in the future. And I want to see headlines.
Oh, we're always playing.
And again, where again can they go to get your record?
You can go to check us out at myspace.com/12 Steps to Nothing.
Okay.
It's pretty much the current spot. Our webpage is being rebuilt right now. So.
Okay, great. Well, again, we're going to go out with a song. Thank you a lot, Paul. I appreciate it. And we'll see you soon.
I need a break. I'm so out of mind. which I can't see. Drive faster, it's my destiny. So close, and yet I'm so far. New Year, shots on, drive faster to this.